Hi and welcome to another posting of this mk2 Jaguar wide-body two-door coupe, which I'm on with. My last posting up, obviously I'm doing the interior, and I talked about doing the centre console. So that there is the centre console, and it's aluminium format makeup. So I wanted to try and show how I go about, or how I'm trying to go about covering this console. So when I last spoke, I covered it in some masking paper and masking tape to join it all together, as you can see, and then I'd drawn on a pattern, and then I cut on the seams where the actual unit is welded together. This then allowed me, as you can see on the edges, sorry for the finger there, where the edges join the next set of patterning. This would allow me then to stitch into the leather, the diamond pattern which I'd drawn on it. So I've cut it all out. Let me just go in closer here. So I cut the paper out, cut it off, took it all off and everything. I cut the leather, so if we just go here, so all the pieces of leather, so I cut all the pieces of leather out, so you'll see that, you can see there's leather. And then what I've got underneath then is some scrim foam, and I think this is I think it's 4mm scrim foam is this, which will be glued to the back of the leather. So this is a panel I think I showed last time, which I'd made a bit of a mess on, just the positioning of the diamond pattern in relation to the other pieces. So if I could just come down here quickly. So this is the chair. This is the one I'm happy-ish about, but not totally happy, and I will show you in a second. But this was a panel that went there, and it didn't mate up, as you can see. It was a bit all over. So scrim foam's glued to the back, diamond patterns drawn on, and it's sewn on. So that's what all this will be. So all the pieces are cut. The leather is bigger than the scrim foam. That matches the paper template, does the scrim foam. And the reason why I've done that is, one of the things I found out when I was gluing the scrim foam onto the back of the leather and stitching it all up when I did the chair, I was finding, if you just hold bear with me a second, get all my bits of rubbish here and that. I pulled it all off now on this, but this was a panel that I'd done and I made a right mess of it. You can see that I've sewn through the scrim foam, the leather, and there was scrim foam at this side as well. I pulled it all off. Can't remember what I did, but I think I reused it. But anyway, it's just me being tight. I'm a Yorkshireman. But anyway, I found that the seams were way too thick. Way too thick. Let me just see. So when it's sewn over here, it was massively thick, and that was showing. This was starting to show through a little bit on the edges, even though I tried French seaming it. So when this is put on, this foam is going to show quite heavily on this hard face panel here, because obviously it's going to be folded in. I'm going to fold it over and try and glue it back to keep the sewn face as tight to the panel as I can. So I don't want a load of foam and anything else, you know, building this up. So that's why I've cut the scrim foam to the size of the template, and that'll also give me a guide, I'm hoping, for where it's all joined together for each particular panel. So because it's the same size there, when I stitch to that line should hopefully match the next line. Are you with me? So that's what I'm doing. Some of the bits I've not cut out, some of the bits I have. So like here, I've not cut out this bit here because it's so thin here, and I just don't want to be messing around with the thing moving all over the place more than it has to do. The little trap door here, which I've done already, this goes, bear with me, this is a access panel. Now this access panel, there's a kill-off, main isolator kill-off switch goes there, comes through there, and cables that come through here from the battery, which then come from here to the alternator and the starter motor and to the main harness, all have to be joined to the isolator switch here. And it was just impossible to try and attach it all while this was up in the air. So this access panel is what was made, and so that's what I've done. That's where it sits, and the template goes on, and it's relatively, it's turned out quite well. I've just used contact adhesive to stick it down, and then where it came together, see if I can zoom in, where it came together you can see where I've just cut it back with a Stanley knife to make it flush. The impact contact adhesive it's brilliant stuff. So that's what I used. I didn't use spray, by the way. I found with the spray contact adhesive, and I've heard that, yeah, just give it a light coating on the foams and that it's okay, but it's just too thin for me. And I found that it gets inside and you touch it down and it sticks the whole foam together. And yeah, they will say, well, you put too much on. Well, if I don't put enough on, it's just not sticking. So I found that a paint-on contact adhesive, which is a lot thicker in its viscosity, I found was just better. So I got a big gallon tin of this contact adhesive to do that. So that's where we're at. So what I'm going to do is, I've shown this as I've done now. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to attach them, and I'm going to try and build up some videos what I'm making, and to make more of a step-by-step assembly for this piece, just like I did the car, but it'll be all together in one video. So I'll have it a bit longer, and hopefully the colours and the sounds are a bit better, and that maybe you get a bit more enjoyment out of it. End of the day, this is more about the build than the quality of the videos, although I would like them to be better. But we make do with what we've got, and this is what I've got at the moment. So I hope you continue to enjoy these, and everything that you comment on is always positive for me, even when some people might consider it to be negative. It's an encourager, and it stirs me on to try and make it better, and ultimately that's what I want to do. So we'll just continue on. So like I say, another video will be just joining on to brackets and so forth. So what we have here is all the paper templates which I've cut out, I cut off the centre console, yeah, it's on the side of it. So I cut them all on where all the joins are on the centre console. I've then cut out all my leather, so all my leather pieces have been cut out, and I cut out the sponge, scrim foam it's called, I should say, and I stuck that on the back. If you note, I've made it smaller than the leather. The leather obviously because it's a folded seam where it's sewn, and the scrim foam itself is the same size as the patterns themselves. I've then stuck the pattern to the leather, and then what I will do with my leather pen is mark out all the points, and then I will join them up with the ruler. And so that's what I'm going to be doing now, and once I've done those, it'll be sewing all the diamond patterning in with the sewing machine in green, obviously. So there, that's where we are so far with this. So there we are, marked up. So now we'll sew it up, see how she looks. So there you go, stitched up. Don't look for bad. One thing I did notice with the marker, I thought that the marker It does dry, but it's very powdery sort of, and it smudges when you're touching it. Smudges all over, and it makes a right flaming mess. But trying to see, it pretty much. I've had to wash it off with some water and a rag, and I've also got a toothbrush to get in where the stitching is, because it's silver is the marker. If I'm tired, I might look around for another type of pen, but it's given me some reasonable lines I could follow, which pretty much has come off. I can see, and I've not pushed on when I put the marking on, but I don't think you can see if you can see a bit of tracking. It's very, very, very faint, but anyway, maybe when I put some leather food on it, it may get rid of whatever markings there. Maybe it's just me a little bit, because I know where it was. It's just as I join it up, because obviously that is a pattern line there. It doesn't come all the way up to where the double din is. So there we go. So all the rest, which are here, will be sewn up exactly the same way, and then I'll be stitching them together, and then that'll be on this next part, which you'll see. So another panel done, as you can see, and I thought I'd show you this, not because I just wanted to show everyone I did, because I don't. I think it's a bit of a waste of time, but the reason why I'm showing you this is because I came across a problem as I was sewing it, and the problem was tying off the ends. So I went round there like that, and then I thought, oh man alive, I've got the fillings there, how am I going to tie it off then? Now my machine, I'll just go over to my machine here, I've got a pattern setting, so I can double back stitch at the beginning, at the start, and then I can set it how many times on, up to 9 on each forward backward pass, and then end it on the same. The other thing is, because I've only got this little bit of room, even if I put it 1-1, it will still be quite a fat stitch, and I thought that's going to look untidy. So what am I going to do? My machine also has a cut off, so when I heel back it cuts off these stitches underneath, so I don't have to pull it through and finish it all out, so I don't have anything at the top showing, which is quite handy actually, which worked out quite well. So what I did was I stitched up to it, and then when I got close, I should have, well, I'll finish this and then I'll tell you what I did. Anyway, so it leaves it through underneath the thread, so I decided I'll end that and then twist them, just hold on, twist them, grab hold of the two threads, twist them as I'm holding it together, hold it down, and then use this glue, strong stuff, to glue the threads together so it can't unstitch itself. So all the areas where I ended up having to finish blind, as it were, so I could stitch in areas where I needed to finish without showing any bits stuck up like you see here and that sort of thing. So that's what I've done there. This area here, I didn't realise until I got a bit further on, this one here, that I can alter my stitch length there. So I've been running at 4mm. I don't know if that's exactly 4mm because I've not measured it, but I'm saying that's 4mm. But anyway, on number 4. So what I did was, I just moved to shorten the stitch or to lengthen it, whichever I needed. I've been moving that, but I've been running at 4. So that's what I've done. So that's why I've shown you this. So all the areas of which I had to change it and end blind, as it were, without being able to tie off, without leaving a nasty mess of anything. That's what I did. I used the glue and twisted it, and it's actually done it really nicely. I was even tempted to do all ends as well, where I finished and started, but I thought no, blow that. It's going to be all stitched in when it goes to the next panel. So anyway, so there we go, that's where we're at with that. Well, just sewn in this last bit of panel from the top and the two sides, and I've sewn in the carpet. You can get an idea of what we're trying to do. It's just laid on like, but that's what we're aiming for. But yeah, quite happy with that so far. All it's going to be now is the tricky bit is matching all the pattern up, and hopefully I can get that right where it'll fit onto the thing properly. But yeah, there we go so far. Next session is stitch up the other sides and then stitch it all together, and then hopefully it'll sit on nicely. So that's the next step. So this is where we're at, and to say that I'm shocked that I've got anything like is an understatement. Have I messed around? Yes, I have messed around, but generally it's turned out quite good. It's just taped on, as you can see, just to see how it fits, and when it's pulled tight, so it is pulling together. So generally, yeah, I'm happy with that so far. So there you go. So there's just obviously the sides to put on now, and hopefully it'll pull all tight up and sit just good. Back around again. Yeah, quite surprised there myself, especially for the first attempt at like this. Yeah. Well, we've got so far with the centre console cover, it's all stitched up, and it's relatively okay. I won't say it's 100%, but man on a dashing horse. Won't really spot any imperfections. Let's hope so. Hope not, I should say. Anyway, so what am I going to do? Well, I've decided, I did a dry run as it were, just putting it over and see what it was like. Let's just turn this over. Now I've trimmed back the seam, and if you can see I've trimmed it back quite a bit. There's probably about 5-6 mil sat up as it were. So I've decided to put some foam on the inside, just to thicken it up and take that edge away when it's sat on here, because the scrim foam I've used is quite thin, as you can see. So I'm going to glue that into the cover, and then it's a case of then stretching it over that, getting it to sit right, and gluing it in, and hopefully hopefully the contact adhesive should hold it. I'm hoping it will. If not, then I'll have to come out with some other crazy ideas to try and hold it. So there we are. So next one will be it fitted, hopefully. Well, first bit glued and stretched on, glued on that carpet panel there, and carpet panel there, and it's not looking far bad, I don't think. Man on a dashing horse, like I said. That's alright, is that? I think it's going to look quite good. Well, there we go. Finally finished. Not 100% perfect, but I'm extremely happy with it. I'll show you what I'm not really happy with, but it's I think really quite good for the first attempt. So slight mismatch there. I did have a problem, if you can see the line there, it's where I've glued it. I should have made these panels longer on this edge here, so I didn't have much, if any, to overlap to go to the back, and I was half tempted to sew a little piece of black leather in all the way round this edge, and same the other side, to make sure it was glued up at the back. But she glued alright, I suppose. see there as well, where I've just not managed to get the seam over onto the edge here properly. Which it showed up somewhat. It's not crazily bad, but yeah, it's okay. Also, if you look at the distance between there and there, I'm probably about 3 or 4 mil difference, something like that. But considering, I think we haven't done too bad. It's turned out quite good. I'm certainly not going to cry, and I'm certainly not going to redo it again. I think I've achieved what I wanted for a first attempt. There was a couple of areas which I'd changed my ideas, so when I was marking out to sew them together, and I'd marked out from the template where it sat so I could join them together, didn't work. I couldn't see them, and every time I lifted it to open it, it was just causing me too much trouble. So I was doing it by eye under the foot of the sewing machine, and then I had to do a bit more stitching, bringing them together. But like I say, it's turned out reasonably good, and I've got the double dinning which went in perfectly. So there you go, really. Oh, and also I had to redo my hatch cover because it didn't match up, and I've still not managed to get it absolutely perfect. But yeah, I'm happy. So there you go. It now needs fitting in, so hopefully that should do it. It should fit in okay. I made a few other changes as I was making the actual console frame, centre console frame, to allow for thickness of all the bits and pieces. So there we go. I think we can call that a done. As always, for all the comments, an interest that's shown for this builder which I'm doing, it is gratefully appreciated, and like I said, it always spurs me on. Anyway, there you go. Centre console, Mark 2 Jaguar wide body 2-door coupe, finished, just needs fitting.